This week, reports say that literally truckloads of Epstein files arrived from the FBI office in New York ahead of a public release. A mystery illness has appeared in the Congo and unalived more than 50 people after just hours of them feeling ill. Everyone should probably know what the hell just happened in Greece this week, and it's hard to believe, but as insane as the White House argument was, what's followed is even crazier. Because what Trump has decided since then is literally reshaping global politics in front of our eyes, and no one can stop it. We got all of that to talk about and so much more, so subscribe if you like these roundups, and let's get rocking! Okay, let's kick today off with the elephant in the room. How else could we speak about something before we speak about...
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment, and you met up brave, but they had to use our military. You didn't have our military equipment. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
What the hell did we just witness? I honestly, when this was all going down, I don't think I've seen a piece of news that I've been more shocked at than maybe the attempted assassination on Trump. That's probably the closest thing I can think of. It really felt like something we weren't supposed to be seeing. And by we, I mean the public. Like, look, I'm sure that they have these kinds of arguments behind closed doors all the time. But in public, it always feels like they're kind of in control enough so that we never feel like it's getting out of hand. But on Friday, that feeling was not there. I mean, I was watching it live too, and there was genuinely this distinct moment where I thought, holy, like Trump could... It feels like Trump could say anything right now and regret it. It was that moment when he started speaking about how, you know, what if anything, what if a bomb could drop on your head right now? And then he went on to speak about, you know, Biden and Hunter Biden's laptop and Hillary Clinton and all of that. And I was just like, oh.
Well, what if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff, it was a Democrat scam. He went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia.
There was just so much emotion in what he was saying that I was just like, what's even going on? And I mean, come on, look. We've all seen the clips. I don't need to yap on about it anymore. I just needed to vent to somebody. But what we do need to go into is what that argument has triggered. Because, to put it lightly, geopolitical crisis. Pro-Ukraine protests erupted all across America over the weekend, with some holding signs reading "Vermont stands with Ukraine" and "International embarrassment" as J.D. Vance entered Vermont to go on a ski trip with his family. One even said, "Vance is a traitor, go ski in Russia." Also, after the meeting unraveled and with the US support looking less certain, Zelenskyy then traveled to the UK to meet Keir Starmer and King Charles. But it wasn't just them there, because 15 world leaders from the European Union and NATO countries, well, after that whole show, they all gathered in London to hold another emergency meeting. Again, without the US. Now, here's the other thing, though. I've seen a lot of people see that argument that Zelenskyy and Trump had and not really understanding why there is such a big disagreement between the United States and Europe right now. So, I'll break it down real simply so you get the gravity of the situation. So for peace to be achieved in Ukraine, everyone has to agree, including Russia, on a ceasefire agreement. America's and Trump's position is, let's end this war as quickly as possible because people are dying. And to get Russia to the negotiating table, we can't call them names, so to speak. Ukraine and other European countries see how friendly, again, so to speak, the United States is being to Russia. And their point is Russia simply cannot be trusted to accept a ceasefire and then not invade in a couple of years again. You know, as Zelenskyy pointed out to Trump in the White House, every time Russia has accepted a ceasefire, they've broken it. And because of this, Zelenskyy wants security-backed guarantees from the United States, which is also why he wants to join NATO. Trump's argument against this was that, yeah, you know, Russia may have broke ceasefire agreements with Bush, Obama, Biden even. But they won't do it with him because they respect him.
They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
So, in a nutshell, there's a big disagreement between Europe and America on how peace should be brought in Ukraine. In fact, one of the main discussions that they had when they all gathered in London yesterday was the only realistic way to have a ceasefire that won't be broken by Russia is to send peacekeeping troops, aka boots on the ground, to the Ukrainian border and actually be ready to fight Russia as a deterrent to make sure they do not violate the agreement. And this is essentially what Zelenskyy is often referring to as security-backed guarantees. But, and here's the key point in all of this, many of these European leaders, including Zelenskyy, also acknowledge that they still need the full deterrence of the United States military if they want to use this approach. And so, we're right back to Trump again. Now, to be fair, not all European leaders think this way. There are some that put less emphasis on America's importance in defending Europe, like Donald Tusk, for example. Yes, that does sound exactly like a combination between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Donald Tusk. He is the leader of Poland, and this is what he had to say yesterday.
Ktoś słusznie zauważył, że zobaczcie, jak to brzmi. 500 milionów Europejczyków prosi 300 milionów Amerykanów, to licz na siebie, zacznij liczyć na siebie. Nie w odosobnieniu, ale z pełną świadomością własnego potencjału. Europa, jeśli czegoś dzisiaj nam brakuje, to przecież nie przewagi gospodarczej czy ludnościowej.
Okay, now here's where I gotta just jump in here because we've had some major developments in the time that we've just recorded this. Because in the last few hours, kind of as we predicted, Trump has just announced something that is reshaping global politics. Trump has ordered an indefinite pause on all US military aid to Ukraine. Now, to put the magnitude of that in perspective, since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, the US has contributed about half of all military aid, and the other half coming from Europe. But keep in mind, the EU is made up of 27 countries. And the United Kingdom. So that's 28 countries versus 1, and they've provided the same. Meaning, to keep the same level of aid to Ukraine without the United States, every other country would have to double its support. And that's something that we don't even know if it's possible. The US alone has reportedly provided 39 multiple rocket launch systems versus 43 by the entire EU combined. The US has sent over 4.5 million rounds of ammo versus the EU, who even missed its delivery target of sending 1 million rounds of ammo. Now, to address this shortfall, the EU has promised to increase production and pledged to send 2 million rounds in 2025. But again, a lot of experts are wondering whether the EU is even capable of doing that. And that's less than half than America has already provided. In response to this bombshell news, and this is an important point, the European Commission's president said, "We are in an era of rearmament, and Europe is massively ready to boost its defense spending, both in response to the short-term urgency to act in support of Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for Europe's own security." That's basically saying, all right, America, you don't want to play ball? Well, that's fine. We will, and we can do it by ourselves. And on this point, you want to know what J.D. Vance called the UK and France's coalition of the willing, which is them, boots on the ground troops in Ukraine. He said this:
"Give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine. That is a way better security guarantee than 20,000 troops from some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years.
Damn. Random country is wild. Russia has responded to this news by saying the United States has been the main supplier of weapons for Ukraine. If the US stops or pauses these supplies, this will probably be the best contribution to the cause of peace. Now, you should probably know on that point what Russia just said, heavily contested in Europe and America as well, because others argue that if the US stops supplying military aid to Ukraine, it would only embolden and empower Russia in their invasion on Ukraine. But I mean, any way you want to cut this, America is holding a lot of the cards right now. And a lot of the world, especially Europe, will essentially be reacting to whatever decisions one man makes. Trump. But a lot more has happened this week, so we better talk about that. Let's move on. Oh, also, what happened this week with the Jeffrey Epstein files is insane, because not only has it made the whole situation even more suspicious, which, let me point out, is hard to do at this point, but even the government can't seem to release them. How? Let me explain. So recently, as you probably have heard, the US Attorney General, Pam Bondi, was hyping everyone up. She was going out to the public and saying that, she has finally got the thumbs up from the FBI, and they were going to send her the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. And it was gonna blow your mind. Obviously, hearing this, man, Twitter was going crazy. The FBI then sends her 200 pages. That's it. Seems a little small, right? So, she's asking them, FBI, are you sure this is everything you got? And every time they came back to her and they said, listen, that's everything. Stop asking. And to make it worse, the 200 pages that she did get contained almost nothing that the public didn't already know. But now she's in a little tricky situation, right? Because she's just been on all of these interviews saying, these files will make you feel sick. That there was a lot of names and that, full transparency will finally be brought back and given to the public. But what she received kind of doesn't live up to the hype. Whatever. Screw it. She drops them anyway, but she labels them Phase 1. Interesting. Now, the public's reaction to these files were, as you'd imagine, come on, we've seen this before. But then the twist comes in. On the same day that she releases her measly 200er, Pam Bondi posted this picture of a letter that she wrote to the FBI, saying, late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI was in possession of thousands of pages of documents. Thousands. She went on to claim that the FBI didn't disclose their existence and explicitly told her that the 200 pages were the full and complete files on Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, this part of the letter is wild as well. She also says that when her and Kash Patel spoke yesterday, which was quite a few days ago now, and for anyone that doesn't know, Kash Patel, new head of the FBI. Well, apparently he was just as surprised as she was to learn about this new information, which is just wild to say, because how the hell is someone from an entirely different department learning about secrets of the FBI before the head of the FBI? Okay, I've got to jump in here yet again because even more updates on these files. Because last night we got news that, quote, truckloads of Jeffrey Epstein files have arrived on Friday morning from New York, and Pam Bondi says that Kash Patel is looking through them now. She said that these files are in their possession, that they're going to go through them as fast as they can while being careful to protect the victims, and that Kash Patel is going to give her a detailed report as to why all these documents and evidence have been withheld. And on that point, it might look like the wheels have started to move, because also last night, and this is a big update, the top special agent overseeing the FBI's largest field office has been forced to retire yesterday. And you know what office that is? You bet it. New York. He said in an email, late Friday, I was informed that I need to put my retirement papers in today, which I just did. I was not given a reason for this decision. Now, many are speculating, of course, because of the connection, that this has to do with the Epstein files. And while, of course, I can't deny the links, we can't officially confirm that that is the reason because they didn't make a reason public. So make your own mind up. But that is a wild development because just when you thought that we may never see these documents, it's starting to look like maybe we might. But what do you guys think? Do you think we'll ever see the full and complete files or not? But talking about documents and files that we just seem to not be able to get our eyes on, Past Dylan has a note for you. So recently, I was doing a bit of research before I went to China on how to protect myself before going. As someone who's covered the old CCP many times before. And what I found was astonishing. Did you know that companies literally read your emails? No shame, just straight up scanning through them like it's nothing. I thought that was private. The company that starts with a G, well, they even admitted that their 1.3 billion users have granted permission to third-party developers to read, send, delete, and manage your emails. What the hell? But today, this ends. And that is why I am beyond excited to announce the NEWSDADDY Empire's first YouTube sponsorship, Proton Mail. Because you see, sending emails with Proton Mail, that's like delivering them in one of them armored trucks. While sending it through a big tech email, that's like, I don't know, like driving it through the street on a giant billboard. Oh, and Proton wasn't just cooked up by the bros in a garage. It was founded by actual scientists at CERN. Yes, the place where they built the World Wide Web in Switzerland. which also has some of the strongest privacy laws in the world. Unlike big tech, Proton Mail doesn't sell your data, they don't track you, and not even they can have a little cheeky peek at your emails because it is end-to-end encrypted. Oh, and switching over, open that door, because it's a breeze. With just a few clicks, you can transfer and forward all your emails, calendars, and contacts. And yes, it is free. Let's go. But also, if you want extra storage and 10 aliases, so you can sign up to all the dodgy websites you want to without actually having to give your email. That one, I know a lot of people want that one. Proton Mail Plus is a very lip-lickable option. Lip-lickable? That's now a phrase we use here. Oh, and not if, but when you sign up, use the link proton.me/DylanPage that I've pinned in the comments because it'll give you a discount of 40% and it'll tell Proton that you came from the Empire. Big thank you to Proton, but let's move on. Also this week, Greece came to a literal standstill after hundreds of thousands, some argue even millions of people took to the streets to demand justice for the country's deadliest ever train crash. All flights in the country were grounded because traffic controllers decided to join the lawyers, the doctors, the teachers, the train drivers, the boat drivers, along with hundreds of thousands of others in a countrywide 24-hour general strike. Now, official police data say 325,000 took to the streets. Other sources say over 1 million. So, I don't know. Who's counting every single one? You can decide between 300K and 1 million. You're probably wondering, why are they so angry? Why are they doing this? You see, 2 years ago, a passenger train filled with students collided with a freight train and killed 57 people. Polls indicate that 72% of Greeks believe that the government is involved in a cover-up of evidence, suggesting that they are responsible for insufficient safety measures. And they're pissed off because 2 years later, investigations of the matter are still not finished. No one has been convicted, and a separate inquiry found on Thursday that the safety gaps that caused that crash have still not been filled. And this is despite 82% of Greeks saying that the train disaster was one of or the most important issue in the country. Now, the government has denied allegations of a cover-up, and the Greek Prime Minister has dismissed calls to resign, accusing all of these critics of attempting to destabilize the country. You know what else is really unstable right now? The whippings that our 3 sacrificial lambs are about to receive. Thank you, sacrificial lambs. You remind everyone you need to subscribe right now. Here are today's 3 sacrificial lambs, and look how big our wall is getting. Subscribe to the channel. Woo! And I think it is time to get the show on the road with some rapid fire news. Also this week, do not forget, Trump announced that US residency is officially up for sale. America unveiled this brand new type of visa program which has never existed before, called the Golden Card. It allows you to work in the United States, gives you a route to citizenship, and it costs $5 million. Trump says that it will bring in wealthy, world-class global citizens. Next, a state of emergency was declared after a blackout plunged Chile and almost their entire population into complete darkness. In fact, Alex, play them that video beside me, or actually just play it in between, I don't know. And bro's live streaming, and then everything just shuts down around him. Crazy. Now, the blackout affected almost the entire country. Hospitals, prisons, and government buildings were switched to backup generators. Internet and mobile phone services went down. You couldn't withdraw cash. National Guard forces were deployed into the streets, and a curfew was put in place. Phone theft in the UK has got so bad that the government has now given police new powers to enter properties without a warrant if, and only if, tracking apps like Find My say that one of these stolen devices, yeah, it's in that house. And only OGs of the channel will know that every 6 minutes, a phone is stolen in London. Next, more than 250,000 people in Canada signed a parliamentary petition urging Canada, the country, to revoke Elon Musk's citizenship and passport. And I read this thinking, sorry? But then I found out that he is a triple citizen of the United States, Canada, and South Africa. Who knew? Now they don't want him to be part of Canada. Anyway, next. A mystery illness in the Congo has appeared, and it's killed more than 50 people after just hours of them feeling sick. The Africa office for the World Health Organization said that on Monday, the outbreak began after 3 children ate a bat and then died 48 hours later. Now, the still unknown illness does have symptoms which are commonly linked to known deadly viruses, including Ebola, dengue, Marburg, and yellow fever. But, and this is a key point, the CNN report that researchers have ruled all of these out. It's not it. And that is based on tests of more than a dozen samples collected so far. So they don't know what it is, but they know it's not good. Can we just leave the bats alone? Like, I'm sure they don't taste that good anyway. Next, and lastly, at the end of this marathon session, you ever wondered what happens if someone dies on a plane, but you're only halfway to your destination? Well, wonder no more, because this week on a Qatar Airlines flight, a woman collapsed in the aisle and died. Cabin crew tried to move her body towards business class, but, quote, she was quite a large lady and they couldn't get her through the aisle. So, instead of doing that, they had to place her corpse, covered in blankets, next to this couple from Australia for the remaining hours of the flight. Yeah. Not ideal. And they said that it was traumatizing and that the airline didn't really do enough to help them with what they had just gone through. Okay. I think that is about it. You are all caught up for the week. That's all the madness that went on last week. And I'm gathering all of the madness that's happening this week that I'll tell you at the end of that one. Woo! And you see, if you weren't subscribed, you probably wouldn't know any of that, would ya? So, I would like to say a big thank you. I love you. Well done for making it through another week. And I'm sure I'll see you in the next one. Love ya. Bye. Everyone, for the fallen soldier. His spine broke, and now he's kind of broken at the knees. And I'm gonna keep on loving you, because it's the only